Hello, guys. Today we're ranking how well a country would do, and as well here. So today we'll be talking about how well a country would do in a war. Okay, how well a country could do in a war. Basically, if you know you had to work with the geography, you had to work with the size and all that stuff. Which countries would be good for civilization defense? If you had your civilization in this country, and what would you do for it? So we'll be ranking it based off, size, obviously, terrain, you know, access to both, ports as well. And the very first country is an F tier country. Okay, Andorra. People say, but Andorra is not an F tier country. Okay, first of all, Andorra is tiny. Okay, Andorra, if you go onto the map, it is tiny. Okay, Andorra is one of the smallest countries in the world. Okay, it is one of the smallest countries in the world, and it will be yes, it is a mountainous country, but it's so tiny. It's not like Switzerland, where it's big, or Afghanistan, where it's easy to defend those countries. Andorra is very, very small. So we don't really have to vote much, as well here. If your civilization started in Andorra, I guess it would be a pretty good capital city, but you're gonna want to go outside of that tiny portion of the Pyrenees Mountains. Okay, you're gonna want to go outside of the mountains. Okay, you're gonna want to expand into France and Spain before other countries can do. So yeah, basically this video will be basically if you're starting your civilization, you're going to have to want to go outside your comfort zone and not be a city state that can be conquered very easily. So the next country is the United Arab Emirates, and yeah, this country is not a very good as well. It is a desert as well. It is mostly flat, and it can be blockaded easily by this Persian Gulf, the Strait of Hormuz. This is a very easy country to defeat in a war. Okay, you could easily just blockade it off through the Strait of Hormuz. I know some people say, "Oh, but it's a desert." Okay, not many people are going to be traveling through the desert. Okay, it's it can be blockaded very easily as well. And most of the cities in the United Arab Emirates will be in the coast, and people are not going to want to go for the Arabian Desert until very late game because it will be a very hard place to go through. So, Arab Emirates will be an easy country to conquer because it's small, it's flat, and it's, of course, very easy to blockade. Next is Afghanistan. So, Afghanistan is basically the troll country. It's mostly mountains. As well here. It's mostly mountains. So it will be very, very, very hard to take over. Like, most of the people probably live in the mountains. Okay, as well here. Most of the people probably live in the mountains. The capital is in the mountains. So Afghanistan, the main cities in the mountains. They do have cities outside of the mountains, but it is very, very hard to invade a country like Afghanistan. But the only problem it's holding it back is the fact that Afghanistan is landlocked. Okay, Afghanistan is landlocked, which means it cannot be dependent upon the ocean as well here. But it is mostly mountainous. Its capital city is in the mountains. Okay, if you put your capital city exactly where Kabul is. Okay, so your capital city will be in the mountains. It is very, very mountainous. And but there isn't really a lot of places we can grow food in Afghanistan, so I'll put it in B tier. And Cuba, yeah, don't no explanation on this one. This is a tiny island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean that can be very easily invaded. Then we have Albania. It's a very small country in Europe as well here, and it is a very flat country, I think. Oh, it's actually a mountainous country. Okay, it's a very mountainous country, but it's a very small country. That's the big problem. So it's actually my Albania is pretty. I thought Albania was pretty flat, but I guess that might be my whole idea that Europe is flat. But actually, Albania is actually pretty mountainous actually. So it is actually a pretty much more difficult country to invade, but it's still a pretty small country. I'll put it above UAE because UAE is a flat country. Um, it also has its capital a bit inland, but the thing is, Albania doesn't really have a lot of people. Okay, you know, unless we're playing to unless an alternate world where Albania has more people. Then we have next is Armenia. This is another very small country. It is a very mountainous country, so it is very much easy to defend. But you're gonna have the Persia country, you're gonna have the Turkey country, which will kind of just whoop your ass every single time. I'll put it in detail. Very simple. Next is Angola. So Angola, geography of Angola is, you have the southwestern coast, which is a narrow coastal plain, and also you have a high interior with a variety of diverse landscapes, including northern desert. A lot of Africa is actually pretty flat, but it's mostly, but Africa has very, very dangerous terrain. Okay, Angola has a lot of jungle, savannas. They're also the main problem with also problem with Angola is its capital is on the coast. So, but it does have a lot. It probably does have. You probably will build major cities within the country, within the geography. You also have several rivers. You have several jungles. You have several plateaus. I think Angola is pretty well off geography. You have a decent chunk of resources as well. I think Angola also has oil. Argentina, there is no argument with Argentina. Argentina is an S tier country. The only reason Argentina is a weak country is because the leadership just sucks. But if Argentina was actually an actual strong country, Argentina, you have mountains, you have very bad terrain in the south, and you have a massive fertile area in the north of the country. Okay, that's right here. So you have very good defensible areas you can defend. You also have a massive fertile plain as well. Argentina could easily be a superpower. Like, you could easily have a city on the coast, like a major city, and you could have several major cities inland, including the capital, because you don't want your capital to be on the coast. So it'll be very easy to invade the capital as well here. But Argentina is very good. You could also have a major cities in the more rough areas as well here, so you can have areas you can easily defend. So Argentina is a very, very good country geography-wise. And then we have Austria. Austria is next, and Austria has a lot of mountains as well. Yeah, but it isn't really the strongest country in the world. Austria has expanded in the past outside of Austria, but it is a pretty decent country, land wise and geography wise. But yeah, then we have Australia. Okay, Australia is a pretty good country. It's not S tier because Australia doesn't really have a lot of area to grow, but it's a big, massive desert which will be easy to defend. You also have a lot of jungles in Australia as well here. Also, you have to realize Australia is a whole ass continent, so it's a whole ass continent as well. So I think Australia would be S tier too. Yeah. Next, the actual real countries. Okay. Next is Azerbaijan. I'll put it in the same tier as Armenia. Basically the same type of country. Bosnia and Herzegovina. The problem is the country is basically landlocked. So Barbados. Oh yeah, go with F tier. Bangladesh. Bangladesh is not a very good country. It can have a lot of population, but Bangladesh is very small. Okay. Bangladesh is very, very, very small and very flat. Okay. That is a recipe for disaster. Okay, it isn't as weak as the islands, but and Belgium there was have to. Belgium is basically Bangladesh, but even worse because at least Bangladesh has some jungles, but Belgium has nothing. Okay, Burkina Faso, I think Burkina Faso has a lot of desert and a lot of it has desert and it has some jungles as well. I'll put it in C tier. It's also landlocked, so it's not really the best geography wise. Then we have Bulgaria. Okay, Bulgaria. Actually, I put Angola in A tier. I think Angola is A tier. Bulgaria has very defensible mountains by where the capital is. The capital is not, thankfully, foolishly not put at the coast as well here. The only problem is it's going to be very close to Serb players and as well here. It's B tier. You have mountains. You have flat areas that can have arable land here. Bahrain, F tier. FTL. Don't even need to explain this. Burundi, a very tiny country, uh, is one of the weakest countries in the world for a reason. So yeah, Burundi is a tiny, tiny country in Africa. Okay, it has a decent population, but it's tiny. It's tiny. Okay, like you're gonna be invaded by Tanzania or Congo civilizations so quickly that you will be defeated. Also, you have Rwanda to your north too, so as well. It's not a very very good thing. Then we have Benin as well. Benin is mostly jungle, so I think Benin very good is geography wise. But the problem is as well here. I think it is CTS jungles, but it's mostly like more flat areas of Africa. And then we have Brunei. Brunei, you do have a whole island that you could take over if you start in Brunei. But other than that, it's not really the best place to start. Honestly, it's you can easily be blockaded, which is a very, 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 very bad problem for a country like this. Obviously, it's you can be easily be blockaded as a Brunei, and then you have Bolivia. Bolivia, I think is an A tier. I think it's around Afghanistan tier. I could have put it an A tier because it was Afghanistan tier because it's still landlocked. It's still landlocked, so I think I'll put Bulgaria in A tier. You're still landlocked as Bolivia. It's not as big, and also you have less arable land in Afghanistan too. So you also have the Amazon, but it's a very easy country to defend. And then you have Brazil. You have Brazil. I'm gonna put Brazil. Brazil. You have a lot of arable land, and you also have the Amazon rainforest for the defense. And some people are like, but you can just burn down. Oh yeah. You think that troops are gonna want to go through the freaking Amazon rainforest? No, and I think Brazilians will have the home advantage because they know how to deal with the Amazon rainforest. The invading army will not. Okay, that's simple. Bahamas, FTL. Bhutan is a pretty interesting one because it's a landlocked country, but it's basically a giant fortress because it's in the Himalayas. I'll put it in CTL. Okay, because it's small still. It's a small country. Then we have Belarus. Yeah, it's DTL. It's flat. Very easy to invade. Belize is also DTL as well. Very similar reasons. Then we have Canada. I'll put Canada in ATL. It's not STL because Canada has so few people. Okay, even if you did do it, like even if I could did civilization, Canada has so few people. Okay, Australia does, but Australia is a whole continent. But also, there is a country to the south of you. If you don't have good relations with it, it will utterly annihilate you as Canada. Okay, utterly annihilate you. Okay, so if you want to in a game of civilization, you're gonna want to defeat America before they snowball and take you over. It's that simple. Okay, Canada is not STL. Also, Canada doesn't have a lot of arable land either. It's just Canada is mostly frozen territory. I know for certain other country, it will be other countries like Australia could be advantage, but Canada, it's just it's not really. You have another country that does what Canada does way better, and it has way more people. And we'll get to that country later. Next, we have the Congo. I'll also put it in ATL. The only reason that Congo is not a best country, it's mostly rainforest, but it's mostly a flat country. It's mostly a flat country. You have a lot of rainforest and jungle. And also, the Congo River is very hard to navigate, but also that's a detriment for you because it's hard for you as a civilization. So, Congo has a lot of resources, has a lot of things going for it, but has a lot of negatives. Central African Republic, Congo, but worse. CTL. Botswana, it is flat and it's a desert. It's very easy to defend, but there's like almost no resources in Botswana. So I think that it's the bad. Republic of Congo, I'll put it in BTO. It's not as great as the other Congo. Then we have Switzerland. I put Switzerland in ATO. I think Afghanistan, but much easier to defend as well. Because it's smaller, but it's also in the Alps. And also, all Switzerland cities are in the Alps. So Afghanistan has cities that are easy to invade outside of the mountains, but Switzerland is like a massive fortress of mountains. So, then we have the Ivory Coast, same tier as Benin. That's simple. Then we have Chile. Chile is a pretty interesting country. The problem is Chile is a very thin country. That's the biggest country's weakness. So all your cities are going to be on the coast, and that's going to be the big problem with Chile. All your cities are going to be on the coast because of the Andes Mountains, and that basically F's you as a civilization. Unlike Argentina, all of your cities are going to be on the coast. It's going to be a bad, bad thing, and you're gonna want to have a mix of inland and not. And Switzerland is different because it's a landlocked civilization, but Switzerland it can be easily defended. But Chile, is the opposite of Switzerland. I could still put in C tier because you have a lot of land in Chile, but next countries we have these countries right here. Yeah, and yeah. So the next batch of countries we have Cameroon. It's the same deal as Benin and those other African countries. Not really the best geography. Then we have China. Of course, China I think goes in S tier. China is a very big. Like, there's a reason why China is one of the oldest civilizations in the world. Okay, China has a lot of arable land. China has a lot of land it can work with. Okay, as well. Okay, it has a lot of areas it can expand to. Okay, it's a massive country as well, and it has variable geography throughout the whole country. So yeah, China is one of the best countries for geography. That's why China is one of the oldest civilizations in the world. Colombia is kind of a problem. I could put in B tier. It's not the best geography. Like, it's not Brazil, or it has its capital in the mountains, which is pretty easy to defend. I'll put Colombia in A tier. Actually, it's a pretty good geography. It's A tier geography. Um, you have your major cities like in the mountains. You have the Amazon and the mountains and other jungles as well. It's a very hard country to invade, so I put it down. Next is Costa Rica. It's a small country and it is very hard to defend as well. It does have a lot of jungles, but the problem with Costa Rica, it's a small country. Dominica, F tier. Don't even need to explain that one. Cyprus, F tier. Easily can be blockaded. It's a small island. Dominican Republic, same thing. In Cuba, same thing. Okay, like yes, Dominican Republic has some mountains, but it can be easily be blockaded. It's not like a country like Britain or Japan where it's massive. Okay, these are small island countries. Okay, they can be easily be invaded and taken out. Czech Republic, you do have the mountains, in the north of the country, north and west of the country. But other than that, yeah, it's a middle of the world country. Germany is a place. There's a reason why Germany was one of the most powerful countries for a reason for once it actually united. Germany has a lot of land. It has mountains to the south as well that can be easily be defended. And also, Germany can project its power onto its weaker neighbors very easy. France and Poland. Okay, it does hit a stone brick wall when you hit Russia, but other than that, Poland is much weaker than you. It's flat terrain, and France is also pretty easy to invade because you can invade through the Benelux region as well. So Germany, I think, is an A tier geography. Djibouti, well, it is a small country. Denmark, D tier. It's not really the best geography. It's a very small country. Estonia, same deal. It does have pretty bad winters, so it gets from being F tier. Algeria, I think, is pretty decent. It has deserts, but that's all it really has. It has also the Atlas Mountains too. It is a B tier geography country as well as yeah. Ecuador, just a weaker Colombia. That's all we will have to say about that country. It's smaller as well here. And the next three countries we have Egypt, Western Sahara, Eritrea, Spain for some reason, Ethiopia, Norway's over here, Netherlands, Finland, Micronesia, France, Gabon. Yeah, these are the next countries. Western Sahara, I know Western Sahara is a desert, but it has no people. Um, Egypt is a very poor country. It's mostly desert, but the problem is Egypt is mostly focused on the Nile River, so it is C tier geography wise. Eritrea is not very good geography wise either. It has had some mountains, but isn't Ethiopia? It isn't like Ethiopia where it's it's gonna be mostly right on coastal cities. Spain has pretty good geography because you have the mountains to the north. You have a lot of space to work with as well. Okay, as well. And you also can block the Mediterranean with any other powers like Italy and France, any other powers like Italy or Mediterranean powers from blocking the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, very, very great strategic advantage there. I could put it ahead of Canada. Ethiopia, I think it's gonna be another country that will be in the A tier. Ethiopia is basically Switzerland on steroids. Okay, um, basically if Switzerland took steroid, okay, I think Ethiopia would be an S tier. Okay, it is round rock, but it's basically it's if Switzerland was much bigger and it took steroids basically and got way bigger. It there was a reason why Ethiopia was never colonized by the. I know it's because of the Pope's blessing, but let's be honest here, okay? The mountains are very difficult and hard to go through. Okay, that like Italy had to use chemical weapons and really had to cheat to beat Ethiopia. They really had to cheat and use chemical weapons which were banned. That's how bad it. And Ethiopia also has a very large area, a large population, a large area to grow agriculture and stuff as well. And its capital city is very well defended as well. Very easy country. Yeah. Then we have Norway. Norway does have a lot of oil and also has a lot of mountains. I could put it in B tier. It is a very thin country, but I think it's a much more better than position than Chile is. I think as well. So the Netherlands, yeah. You go. You might be Netherlands might be lucky if they survive the sea. Okay. Then we have Finland. Finland has those really has Finland pushed back Russia. That's all you have to really know. But they're not really because Finnish winters are even are just as bad as Russian winters. Which Finland when they got invaded by the Soviet Union, they said yeah we're gonna fight. They really pushed back the Soviet Union. One of the greatest superpowers in the world. Micronesia FTL. Gabon is a pretty interesting one. It has jungles and oil, but it's not really a very strong country. France. Okay, I know I've been sitting on France, but France also has pretty geography. Though it only has its one weakness, and that is Germany. Okay, if Germany tries to invade France, France is cooked. But France can easily defend the south, can easily defend Italy. Okay, because it's mountains, and it can also easily defend any air attack from the Alps. Okay, as well. So it's only and also it also does Britain to the north, but France can easily defend with its navy. So the only reason France is not F tier or S tier is because of this one weakness. Okay, it has which is through the Benelux region because the Benelux countries are not very powerful. Germany did this with World War II. The reason I didn't do it in World War One was because World War One they didn't invade the Netherlands, which was kind of in the way, obviously as well. But France is an A tier geography. S tier is like countries that have perfect geography. Then we have the UK, we have Georgia, we have French Guiana is not a country. Ghana, Gambia, we have Guinea, we have Equatorial Guinea, we have Greece, yeah, we have Grenada, Benin. Oh, wait. I think that's Guinea-Bissau, not Togo. Togo's a different flag. Honduras, Guyana, Guatemala, and here are the next countries. These are all the actual real countries. So not our territories. And most of those territories are rated F tier either way. Next we have the UK. The UK I think will also go in A tier. UK. If you look at the geography of the UK, okay, There was a reason why the UK became the world's global superpower for 200 years. Very difficult to invade because it's an island. Okay, it isn't like the FTL islands or the tiny ass islands, and you can easily just walk onto the beach and the country loses. Okay, the UK has steep cliffs as well that are very hard to go through. London is actually pretty secure as well. Okay, I actually gotta put the UK in S tier. There's a reason why the UK, like the UK, could easily like the UK had the strongest navy in the world for centuries. Okay, until the US surpassed it. Okay, it took a country as strong as the US to surpass the UK and as well. And the only reason the UK lost its power was because Germany basically chokeholded the UK and blockaded the UK and defeated all of the UK's allies. Okay, and even then, the UK still persevered and still is, even today, it's still a decent power in the world. So then we have Georgia, same problem with Armenia and Azerbaijan, obviously as well here. This is Ghana. I'll put in the same tier as the other African countries as well here. Gambia is really just a freaking river. It's F tier. It's really just a river. You could really just walk the river and they lose. Honduras, same problem as Costa Rica. It's a small country. Guinea, yeah. Greece. Okay, so Greece is a pretty small country, but they are one of the older civilizations in the world, and they do have a pretty decent mountainous tier, but they are not really like they're still pretty small countries. So, as well, they're also pretty mountainous, but Greece could be easily blockaded as well. So through the Mediterranean Sea, the Gibraltar, and of course the Strait of Hormuz can easily blockade. Equatorial Guinea, DTL. Grenada, FTL. Guinea-Bissau is a small, very small country. Um, Guyana is a lot of these countries are in the lower TLs. Guyana is CTL. We're not going to really explain most of these countries because they mostly have similar reasons. Haiti, FTL. Croatia is a very interesting country. I think it'll be in. I think it's the same as Bosnia. Hungary is the same as I think slightly weaker than Austria. It goes with the other Balkan nations. And then we have Indonesia. So Indonesia is an island archipelago. I think Indonesia's geography is not that great. Is because you have a lot of islands you have to protect as well. And also Indonesia needs to have a pretty great navy to defend. It does have a lot of jungles, but a lot of the islands are, not very big in most of Indonesia's seas, or it could be on the coast anyway. So I'm gonna put it in BTL. Indonesia is not the perfect country geography wise. Ireland as well. It is not really I'll put it in CTL. Israel is near the bottom, like near FTL. Israel literally has no natural resources. It's a flat desert with no natural resources. Okay, that is near F tier. Okay, and near F tier. Okay, then we have India, Iraq, Iceland. We're getting some big guys here. Italy, Japan, Jamaica, Jordan, Iran, Kenya, Kyrgyzstan, Cambodia, Kiribati, Comoros, St. Kitts and Nevis, North Korea, South Korea, Kuwait, Kazakhstan, Laos, and Lebanon. Those are all of the next countries as well here. So first is India. Okay, India is S tier for many of the same reasons as China. Oh wait, what was India? Where did I put it? As China. Okay, first of all, India has a lot of land, a lot of arable land. It has mountains to the north, so you can't really invade India from the north. And also, India is a very large country of for a lot of different biomes like swamps and jungles. And jungles as well. So, the reason why I made the European countries is European countries don't have a way of biome variety like China or Brazil do, or America does, or Australia. So yeah, Iraq again. There's a reason why Iraq has been invaded so many times in world history. Okay, I can still put them C tier because they still have a lot of resources and stuff. But Iraq is not a very strong country. Iceland is an island, and it does have a really pretty good geography, so I'll put it in C tier. But it probably still has a small population. Italy, I think, for early game, Italy is nearly perfect. Okay, it is it is surrounded by water, mountains to the north. But once the world goes outside of the Mediterranean Sea, Italy is not really like Italy. The reason why the Roman Empire came from Italy, okay, but Italy later on, late game geography is not very great. So because the world is not revolving around the Mediterranean Sea anymore, but Italy has become a superpower in the past, so I'll put it in SDL because early game is just too great to ignore not putting in SDL. Japan. The problem with Japan is UK, but it is a bit worse. Okay, UK, but it is a bit worse. But it is still a very difficult country to invade. It still has a lot of mountains. But the problem is the UK can grow more agriculture than Japan does. Japan, it is a much more difficult country because it has way less arable land than the UK does. Okay, Japan is basically the UK, but it's a bunch of mountains. Okay, but it's still a very difficult country to invade. I think it is. So yeah. Then we have Jamaica, FTL. Jordan, it is the same tier as Israel. Iran is basically there a lot Persia / Iran. Yeah. There's a reason why Iran's nickname is Fortress Iran. Okay. There was a reason why not even the Romans could defeat the Persians. Okay. Iran has been actually conquered so few times in history. I know, with Iran, Iran has mountains surrounding all of its populated areas, and it is not landlocked either. So Iran doesn't have to worry about the landlocked problem. The only problem is kind of a right on the Strait of Hormuz, but also they can go for Iraq as well or Pakistan. So it doesn't have that problem like the UAE does. Okay, as well. But there's a reason why one of the earliest empires, like actual superpowers, came from Iran. Okay, there's a reason why for centuries, the Persian Empire was one of the biggest empires in the world. Okay, as well, same thing of Rome as well. Then we have Kenya. Kenya is geography-wise, it has some mountains, it has some jungles, but it isn't really the best. Yeah, I think I'm finding out that Africa's geography is kind of weak. Honestly, that's probably why Africa doesn't really have any global superpowers. Outside potentially future Ethiopia, obviously, but Angola's geography is actually pretty good. But Kenya is basically has savanna, and a few mountains to the north, and that's it. Most of the populated areas are not really there. It's also pretty flat as well. So, yeah. Then you have Kyrgyzstan. It is basically like the Himalayas. So I could put Kyrgyzstan is very hard to invade because of that. So, yeah. Cambodia, not the strongest country in the world to put in CTL. Kiribati, FTL. These countries are all in FTL. Kuwait is a small country. Yeah. Lebanon also in DTL. And we have North Korea. Okay, North Korea, if North Korea wasn't a batshit crazy country, it would actually be in this tier of geography. Okay, North Korea is more mountainous than the South Korea. Okay, if North Korea was like South Korea, North Korea would be might even be better geography-wise than South Korea because of all the mountains. Because North Korea is far more mountainous than South Korea. It does have less arable land than South Korea, but it is basically has more mountains than South Korea. It's not as great as, of course, other Asian countries, but it is basically much better than South Korea. South Korea is next. I'll put South Korea. Oh, wait, not Belgium. But South Korea is not Belgium. South Korea I'll put in the top of CTL. South Korea doesn't really have the same mountains as North Korea does, so it's in CTL. It does have more arable land though. Kazakhstan is a flat step, so I'll put it in CTL. It does have pretty bad winters. It's basically Russia, but not Russia. So Laos, I'll put it in. Laos does have some jungles and stuff, but other than that, it's also landlocked as well. So it doesn't have the same advantage that Vietnam has in terms of geography as well here. So So we have Liechtenstein, we have St. Lucia, excuse me, we have Liberia. Oh, okay, a lot of these countries we're going to go through really quickly. So Luxembourg, Latvia, Libya. Yeah, these are some pretty. Monaco, Moldova, Montenegro, Madagascar, the Penguins are, Marshall Islands, Macedonia, Mali. Yeah, these countries are gonna go for them pretty quickly. These are like some pretty weak countries, yeah. Yeah. Malta. We have Mexico. We have. So let's get the elephant out of the room. FTL. FTL. Monaco FTL. Really, that's a city state. Moldova FTL. Marshall Islands FTL. Mauritius FTL. Maldives FTL. Malta FTL. Very simple. Liechtenstein FTL, a tiny country. It is pretty hard to invade, but you're tiny. Okay, you're not. It's you know. Switzerland accidentally invaded you. They have Sri Lanka. It is DTL. Liberia. It is DTL. It's a small country in Africa. These countries. Luxembourg is FTL. Latvia is DTL. Then we have Libya. So Libya is a pretty strange country. I'll put in CTO. It's not really a very strong country. It has a lot of natural resources. Morocco. Wait, no, we're gonna go over Mongolia first. So earlier game, Mongolia actually has a pretty distinct advantage over other countries. That's why Genghis Khan was able to take so much land because China couldn't even conquer Mongolia because of how hospitable the Gobi Desert was, basically. But Genghis Khan and the Mongolians are able to take advantage. I could put Kazakhstan up at here, as well here. And they have Morocco. Morocco, I think, has one of the better geographies of Africa. It has a lot of mountains. It has some arable land because it has the moist Mediterranean coast. And it has decent ways for civilization. I'll put it in the same tier as Algeria. Basically, same tier as Algeria. Then we have Montenegro. Montenegro is a small country. So Madagascar is a whole ass island. So you have a lot of different resources as well. It is not as strong as like the UK or Japan. It has some mountains and a lot of jungle. So it'll be very, very hard to actually invade and take over with a competent military, basically. So yeah, Macedonia, very weak country. Mali. Mali is actually a pretty decent geography. Deserts as well, and it also has a lot of jungles as well. So yeah, BTO geography wise here. Myanmar, it is basically the other version of Vietnam. If Myanmar didn't have such a bad government, it is 100% ATL geography wise as well. As well. Same type of deal. Mauritania, literally the desert. No one's gonna want to even fight you anyways. So Malawi is really just a small savanna country. So then we have Mexico. So Mexico's geography is a large mountainous country, and mountains favor a country like Mexico very easy. I know like the French invaded Mexico very easily, as well, but Mexico is mostly mountains and desert. Does not have arable land, but easily defendable terrain. So Mexico, I think, does not go S tier because of arable land issues, but you can easily defend. Okay, if the Aztecs were not, did not have, did not die of smallpox, they would have probably put up a fight against the Spanish very easily. Okay, the Spanish would have had a very tough time getting through the mountains of Mexico and getting to the capital of the Aztecs. Okay, if the Aztecs were on par technologically with Spain, Spain would have got their asses whooped. Basically, that is basically the truth. Spain would have got their asses whooped. Basically, Malaysia is basically very similar. It is mostly flat, but it's mostly jungle and swampy terrain. So it is a B tier country as well. Same thing. It is the same deal with Indonesia as well. So it is the same deal. Next is Mozambique. Mozambique is a CTO country. It is mostly flat and savannas, so it is not really the best geography wise. Next we have Namibia, Nigeria, Nicaragua with the Illuminati flag, Nigeria. Oh, we already did. Are we not doing Macau? We're not. That's not even a country. We already did these two countries: Nepal, Nauru. Yeah, FTL. Oman, Panama, Peru, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, Philippines, Pakistan, Poland. Puerto Rico is not a country, so it's a territory. Palestine, um, Portugal, Peru, Paraguay, Qatar, Romania, Serbia. We'll just put the rest of the countries here. Russia, Rwanda, Saudi Arabia, Solomon Islands, Seychelles, Sudan, Sweden, Singapore, Slovenia, Slovakia, Sierra Leone, San Marino, Senegal, Somalia, Suriname, South Sudan, Sao Tome and Principe, Chad. Yeah, we have Chad and Romania. Chad is the darker one, I think. So this country, El Salvador, Togo, Eswatini, Syria, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Thailand, Timor-Leste, Tunisia, and we have Tanzania, the Ukraine, Tuvalu, Taiwan. Yeah, we are counting Taiwan. Trinidad and Tobago, Uganda, Turkey, Tonga, the UA, of course, the United States, Uruguay, Uzbekistan, Vatican, this country, the St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Venezuela, Kosovo, Yemen, Vietnam, Vanuatu, South Africa, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. So these are the remaining countries we have left. As well, here most of these countries, the rest of these countries like territories and stuff. As well, but the rest of these are like sovereign countries. So first is Namibia. So Namibia is mostly desert, but it's mostly flat desert, but desert is a very difficult area to invade. So Niger is mostly desert as well, and also it's landlocked too. Yeah, so I could put it in CTL. Nicaragua, same deal with the other Central American countries. Nigeria is jungles, and Nigeria also has, also is one of the bigger food exporters of Africa, but it is basically the same starting position as most of these other African countries. So, yeah, Nepal is mostly just mountains as well, and I'm gonna put right next to Bhutan. Because in a long-term war, Bhutan, Nepal could just be cut off, and yeah. Oman, and also not very large because Oman isn't reliant on the Strait of Hormuz, so I'll put it in CTL. Panama, there's not the Panama Canal, which could block trade, obviously, but that's the only advantage it really has over the other countries. Peru, Okay, same thing with the Incas had talking about like the Incas obviously. Um, Incas did pretty well despite only living in the mountains. Okay, modern day Peru they kind of do suck because most of their cities are on the coast. But if you had to talk about the Incas, yeah, the Incas are S tier. Though they had most of the civilization were in the mountains. Okay, as well. Okay, it took disease and stuff to really defeat them. So, yeah. New Zealand is very isolated from the world. That actually gives it kind of a benefit. It's also mountainous. It also has several different terrain types in New Zealand. I'll put it in BTL. Papua New Guinea. Okay, Papua New Guinea is a troll country. It's mountainous and it's very, very hard to navigate. Okay, I'm gonna put it. It's basically like Afghanistan. As a also like yeah, it's I put an ATL. As it's not like Indonesia where it's a giant archipelago as well, but Philippines. Philippines same deal as Indonesia as well. I think Indonesia was in this deal. No, it was Indonesia was in this. It was in the same tier as Indonesia. Pakistan. Well, if you do not know, Pakistan's geography sucks. It just has the mountains to the north, but it is there was a reason why there's a whole entire video discussing how bad Pakistan's geography is, but it's not F tier geography. Like it has some arable land, but it has desert and mountains to the north, but it can be easily be invaded by Iran or Afghanistan or India. You have much stronger countries surrounding it. So Poland, of course, Poland is going in DTL. There is no Palestine. Literally has almost no land. So Portugal, Portugal would start in the same area as Spain. So Portugal, if it conquered Spain, would have all the same geographic advantages of Spain. So I'll put in ATL. Peru FTL. Cotao FTL. Paraguay, its geography is okay. But again, they are kind of surrounded by bigger powers. So because Brazil also exists too. So yeah, then we have things to see it's Chad. Okay, let's say this is Romania. Romania does have mountains that can easily defend from the north as well. I think Romania's geography is pretty solid. Serbia's geography is pretty solid too. Oh, we're next going to be going to Russia. Serbia's geography I think is the same as most of the Balkan geographies. Okay, Russia's geography is almost perfect. The only reason why Russia has the brutal Russian winters, which has caused many countries not to be invaded. But here Russia has one big problem with its geography was Russia. Yeah. And Russia has a rack of warm water ports. Okay, this is an actual genuine issue the country of Russia has. Okay, as well. Okay, the lack of warm water ports makes it permanently an ATL. Okay. Rwanda, same deal as Uganda. Saudi Arabia, its geography is actually pretty solid. It has a lot of oil. It can also have access to the Arabian Gulf as well. Yeah. I'll put it in the bottom of BTL. Because late game, Saudi Arabia's geography is amazing, but early game it sucks because it's desert. And so it also has mountains that can easily. Then we have Sudan. I think Sudan's geography is CTL. It's same as Egypt basically. Sweden's geography I think is pretty okay as well. Mountains it can easily defend itself in, and also it can easily defend itself. Yeah, it's Sweden and BTL. Singapore is really just a city. That's on the coast, so FTL. Slovenia is a small country in the Mediterranean. Yeah, put it in DTL. Slovakia is weaker than Czech Republic. FTL, FTL. Oh, we'll go over all the easy ones first. FTL, FTL. Timor-Leste, FTL. Tuvalu, FTL. Trinidad, Tobago. These countries are also FTL. Vanuatu, FTL. Tonga, FTL. We're going over all the uninteresting ones first. So now all the uninteresting countries are taken out of the equation. We have Sierra Leone, which again is D tier because it's a small country. You could be fighting over all the other West African countries. Senegal, I think, is a C tier as well. Somalia is FTL. Somalia's geography is a sit, so basically I could put an FTL. Like it is basically Africa's the Netherlands. It's flat and it's also desert. I know desert is very hard, but it's literally flat desert. Okay, like it's not that hard to invade flat desert. Okay, then we have this country is difficult because it's basically a giant jungle. So I'm gonna put with Guyana. Um, South Sudan, yeah, its geography also isn't that great either. I'm gonna put it in detail. Then we have, I think this is actually I have no idea if it's one Chad or Romania. I'm just going by alphabetical order. Well, Chad's geography is yeah, DTL. Togo, it goes with all of the West African geographies because all of the West African countries have the same geography basically. Syria, it is the same geography tier as Iraq. Tanzania, you do have you do have a few plateaus and mountains to work with, and also you do have like the savannah. I'll put it in CTO and the BTO at the bottom of BTO. It's basically same as Kenya. Turkmenistan, well, your geography just isn't that great. So, El Salvador is the same as a lot of the Central American countries. Not the greatest geography in the world. Small country, little geography. Tajikistan. Yeah, at the end of this video kind of gets boring. So, Thailand. Thailand actually has some pretty decent geography. There's a lot of jungles in Thailand, as well. It's basically like Vietnam and Malaysia and Cambodia. I'll put an ATL as well. I think Malaysia could be an ATL as well. So yeah, I think Thailand's an ATL. Tunisia is the same. Is much more flat than its neighbors, so I'll put it in the bottom of CTL. The Ukraine has the same exact problems as Poland and Belarus. It does have a lot of energy and stuff. It also did lose Crimea, so it did lose that. So yeah, Taiwan is just an island that can easily be invaded. It isn't like the UK, Uganda. It is basically Rwanda and Burundi, but its geography is a bit less bad. Turkey is, of course, one of the great geographies. It's water mountains, a lot of places to put ports, decent areas for agriculture and stuff. Output is one of the perfect geographies in the world. Of course, the United States is gonna be an S tier. Of course, people say, but you're being biased towards the USA. If you look at the USA's geography, at the current size, you have Alaska, you have snow, awful terrain in Alaska that can easily be defended. You have the Hawaiian Islands as well that you control. Okay, and again, the USA has the most powerful, has created the most powerful navy in the world. You also have the Rocky Mountains and the Appalachian Mountains. Okay, you also have deserts in the south. You also have, of course, the Florida Man, which of course is very difficult to deal with. Then we have this country right here, Uzbekistan. I'll put it in CTL. Venezuela is the same as basically Colombia, but a bit worse. Basically, I'll put it in BTL. Venezuela's geography isn't as great as Colombia's because it has West Mountains. Kosovo, its geography is typical Balkan geography. It's a small country, so it isn't really best. Yemen's geography is the same as Oman's, basically. It has some mountains in it as well, so I'll put it. And it's also not reliant on the Strait of Hormuz. And then we have Vietnam. Of course, the one country where America lost to. I think for that alone, Vietnam goes in And also, yeah, the jungles. And also, Vietnam is a very elevated country, too, compared to Thailand and Cambodia. So, yeah, Vietnam is literally kicked America's ass. Also, not even China could invade Vietnam. Okay, not even China could invade Vietnam. Okay, South Africa's geography is pretty good. You have some mountains, you have some deserts as well. Okay, you actually have a varied geography as well. Also, you have also a very great area for trade as well. It's a pretty hard country to blockade. South Africa, I think, has one of the highest Africa geographies. I can put Angola a bit lower here, but yeah. Yeah. Oh, we forgot about oh yeah, Samoa's FTL. Um Uruguay. It is basically Argentina, but it's basically combined with the Netherlands. So DTL. And we have Zimbabwe and Zambia. Zimbabwe is okay, and Zambia is okay. So we have ranked every country by the geography and land of the country. So yeah, 55 minutes video. But yeah, I want to do this video anyways. It was very worth it. So yeah, goodbye.